Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Safari Mack Returns to Africa. I'm Safari Mack, your guide and host, helping you make connections to the wild. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're still here in the Okavango, and we're still hanging out with those mischievous monkeys. And yes, I really do mean monkeys. Or, alright, fine, the baboon. Or known by the Latin name of Papio ursinus. I tell you what, that Latin name, that's actually really interesting. I want to learn how they got that Latin name in the first place, because that sounds more like Fabio to me. Anyway, back to business. We're going to continue on with the baboon, and then stay tuned for the next animal that I think is a nice special surprise. But before we begin, and as always, if you're new to my channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Check out my Facebook page for content on conservation. And if you have a question about animals, or if there's an animal that you want me to do in the future, just send me an email, which you will always find the link to down in the description below. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get started. Alright, I had to trick you this way. So, basically, that is their butt. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, why in the world do baboons have such big butts like that? Those are actually considered to be pads that help it for sitting down on the rough terrain in Africa. Hey, don't look at me like that. I'm just saying that's just what the research has told me. Now, something pretty interesting about these baboons, no, he's not puffing out his cheeks like this. He's just really got food in his mouth. He's actually a little bit similar to a chipmunk. So they can actually hold food within those cheeks. Thankfully, though, it's not like the chipmunk, where the chipmunk can, they hold chestnuts in their cheeks, right? 3 in each, which for them, if you were to look at the size of the chestnut, it's basically the same size as the chipmunk's head. Thankfully, that's not the case for the baboon, because that would just be flat out freaky. Now, baboons, well, basically, I should say this. All primates aren't just going all... No. They have other forms of communication, In a sense, you could kind of say it's kind of like sign language, but they're not learning ASL or basic sign language. No. They have different ways of communicating. They use body language, even their eyes. So a sudden expression might, to you and me, be a form of surprise, or it might be something else to a baboon. This is why at zoos and wildlife parks, if they have primates, they really do encourage you to not at all try to act like a monkey, because what may be playful to us may be life or death to them. Here's an example. That yawn, that characteristic yawn of the baboon, that's really the adult male's way of saying, stay away from me or you're going to end up being sorry. And usually that's reserved of the alpha male. However, for other males that are living within the troop, there is a way that they can kind of get on his good side. So now, I forgot to mention this in part 1 last week, but when baboons are having kids, it's usually, mom has her one kid, but that's not to say that it won't be shared with the rest of the females. That's right. Even the other females of the group, you might see primates, it looks like they're kidnapping kids, but the truth is, baby swiping is the family way with different primates. All the moms and aunts, they all help each other raise the young. And sometimes it's not really a common occurrence, but males do sometimes participate in the raising of the young. And we'll see that as we look at other primates here in Africa. But back to this male baboon here, he's actually using this baby, and he's being very gentle too. He's using it as a way of kind of getting on the dominant male's good side, showing that he doesn't want to be a threat. He just wants to be part of the troop, and he will learn his place quickly. And so usually, you could think of it as a baby passport, which can help, especially when, despite the males being at least a little bit twice the size of a female, it can be a little helpful because females, despite their being shorter than males, they will show fury. Now, unfortunately, baboons still face problems and challenges. Never mind the negative stereotypes that you might have heard growing up, which I will not be repeating. But baboons and humans, at least in Africa, they are problematic. It's not their fault, but baboons are starting to get just a tad bit too comfortable around humans, where they are getting closer and closer to humans and their way of life. They've been known to go into cars, they steal food, and they've even caused problems where the baboon is just now seen as a common pest and a problematic animal. You know, in the end, it's not their fault. They're just doing what they have to survive. But now, let's just think about it from another perspective. Baboons and humans, we are part of the same family. We are primates. And as a problem, we can maybe by accident transmit certain disease that can be problematic in the future. Despite our somewhat of an interesting past history where even baboons were once used as a primate of study for the evolution of man, still, we have figured out that since we can share similar diseases, if they have something that's more alarming than a common cold, let's just say it won't be a pretty picture. So now the question is, what can we do? I mean, we shouldn't get rid of these animals just because they cause problems, but how can we coexist? Of course, conservation measures are always being taken to ensure survival of the species, and there are many different features. One is we have to learn how to coexist with these primates. One way, don't be a fool and don't be feeding these animals. It's just not right. That's part of the problem. They have become too used to us just giving them food, when really they need to continue their way of survival of foraging for food. And one way that we've been able to stop the baboons from trying to get to us, although this one seems to have kind of figured it out, or the human didn't really do well with putting up this baboon-proof trash can. But we are looking into other ways in how we can get along with each other without having to kill them. And of course, as always, community outreach is a high-prized tool in conservation, especially when it comes to a pretty charismatic animal that seems to have caused itself a bit of trouble, especially with all the monkey business going on. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time that I have for the baboon, but be sure to join me next week as we look into the most highly trafficked animal in the black market, the pangolin. But until next week, this is Safari Mack. I'll see you all out there.